You're watching Oilersnation Radio.
The Nation Network is proud to partner with Odd Company Brewing to bring you the all-new Nation Beer Everyday Lager. Perfect for the next big game, to recover from the last game, or just be your next go-to lager. Find it at Odd Company Brewing and at liquorconnect.com. It's kind of like a search engine. Type that on in there and get it at a liquor store near you. If they don't carry it, ask them why. Why not? Tyler?
Are you the way that you are?
What is the delicious debate for our friends, the listeners, today?
Well, Evander Kane announced today he underwent another knee surgery yesterday, so he's going to be out another 4 to 8 weeks on top of his initial timeline. Well, I did see someone today in the Owen Everyday chat who was like, this is not good. We miss having Evander Kane in the lineup.
Yes.
And when he does come back in the playoffs, he's not going to be as good. So do you view it as a positive or a negative, today's news that Evander Kane is in all likelihood going to be out for the rest of the regular season?
Go ahead, Rick.
I have no issues with it because he's out like 4 to 8, right? So let's call it 5 to 6. 5 to 6 weeks from right now takes him like the third week of March, which gives you about 2 weeks of hockey on top of that. It gives you a 10 game, something like that. Yes, they'll have to do some sort of juggling in terms of getting someone else out of the lineup or somebody else off payroll or whatever.
So you think there's a chance he plays in the regular season?
100%. And then,
really?
I also saw someone who said he's got that. Now, what's that do about his abdominal injury? Well, while he's resting his knee, his abdominal injury is also resting. Like he's just, I'm not moving for my knee.
He's been punching it the whole time.
Your stomach is also still healing at the same time.
But this is what the Oilers said in their release today. While this procedure is unrelated to his abdominal surgery in September, it will require him to pause his current rehabilitation schedule to recover from Thursday's operation.
Yes,
there's some hanging out in the tub.
I think they're just feeding you words right now. Like they're trying to make it sound like, yes, Mark Stone's had a bad back, and here's the excuses why he can't do this. Yeah, I know you saw him out the other day doing the worm in the field, something like that. His back is still hurt, blah blah blah. Wow. And they're just giving you words. They're just giving you words as to like push why we can like wait till third week of March before he starts playing.
That's why I tweeted when I saw the news this morning that we do be cap cheating in 2025, and I'm all for it. 100%. Is he going to be rusty when he comes back? Sure. But I would also argue that Evander Kane was so banged up and beat up last year towards the end of the season, he wasn't Evander Kane anyway. So getting him actually feeling good about his body being healthy and being a kamikaze out there, I think that is a huge win for the Oilers going into the playoffs.
Wouldn't you rather have a lot more physical Evander Kane?
Yeah.
Rather than the dude who can score you all. Like I get the goals are important and the goals will come with every game. He'll get a little more comfortable and everything. But our biggest thing in the playoffs are going to be someone who can attack their defense and, forecheck and do the physical things that Evander Kane, a healthy Evander Kane can do. Mm-hmm. And the goals will follow. And I'm not worried about this at all.
It's not like we're exactly struggling right now. So whilst I think that Evander Kane makes this team better, I think that his addition is going to cause roster changes to be made as well. And so I think that this allows us to maybe make some adjustments there, get a spot for him to slide into the lineup comfortably instead of right now where it's going to be a jumbled mess and somebody sent down and whatever.
Well, the good news about that, in my opinion, is whoever Kane replaces in the lineup, he's a better player than that person.
Yep. And that's an important thing for the team to remember going forward. So
all I think about is Nikita Kucherov coming back when the playoffs started and the Tampa Bay was $19 million over the cap. And I see a big opportunity to do something a little bit similar at the trade deadline.
Fair.
Why? What do you think about it?
I think it's interesting. Puckpedia had an explanation that kind of made me raise an eyebrow. So he said, if Kane is out for the rest of the regular season, the Oilers can exceed the cap by $5.1 million, but because they set their LTIR pool at the start of the year, they won't be able to use whatever space they accrue and Kane's LTIR pool. It's one or the other. So the initial thought that if they accrued up to $3 million, they could use the $3 million and then dip into Kane.
You said double the 5.1 in that tweet. If you read further down, you get 5.1 if they put him on LTIR, but at the very end there, he said if they did it the other way, they could have double that 5.1.
Yeah, but they didn't do it that way.
And that's fine. That's hindsight. And we didn't see this coming. And
I would argue they did. This all seems very like Evander Kane being 4 to 8 weeks away from returning, then getting a surgery that's going to keep him out another 4 to 8 weeks.
He's rehabbing.
When the playoffs are 13 weeks away, seems very much like they knew what they were doing and they might have just fucked up the cap situation.
Yeah, see, I think that's
or it's going to work out fine.
Yeah, I'm going straight down the. I like this. We've got $5 million to play with instead of we could have had 10.
$5 million is a lot to play with. So they've gotten things done with way less space than that.
We need one Ekholm-esque trade,
which Frank Saravalli said they're chasing,
and we'll be fine. And then you add Kane, we're good.
Liam, wrap up the Kane conversation.
I'm a bit confused by this money thing now. So you're telling me they will now only have about $5 million at the deadline?
Yeah.
So
versus if at the start of the year they would have not set their LTIR pool and done kind of what Dallas is doing right now. Tyler Seguin is not on LTIR, have not set their LTIR pool, so they're going to be able to use any space they've accrued, and then they're going to be able to use Seguin space.
So whether we put a Kane on LTIR or not, by the deadline, we'll have about $5.1 million to deal with.
Jeez Louise. This is so stupid, right? This is dumb.
Why is it dumb?
Because they could have had $8 million. Is that right?
Or something close to it, yeah. They could have double dipped.
They could have another 5.1.
Yeah. I don't know. I honestly have nothing else to add on the Kane stuff. I feel like you guys covered all the areas.
I just see that like they're going to go out and get an impactful player at the trade deadline, and then they're going to get Kane back for the playoffs, which is essentially another player coming back in.
Yeah, that is
sure.
good.
Are we going to whine about an extra $3 million in cap space? Maybe, but the Oilers also have very limited assets to trade out the door anyway.
So
also very true.
So how much they have $1 million in cap space right now? Right?
Yeah, I thought you said you were done.
Well, I'm curious now. So
he's back in.
It just really seems to have defeated the purpose of what they're going through.
If you keep accruing the way they're doing, they'll have about 5.1 by the deadline. If they put them on LTI right now, they'll have 5.1 at deadline.
Says who?
No,
in here.
Oh,
he said he literally said there's no real benefit either way, regardless of what you do. You essentially have the same amount of money.
Let me read it.
Just read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Let's get to the bottom of this.
If Kane is out for the rest of the regular season, Edmonton can exceed the cap by 5.1 million because they set their LTIR pool at the start of the season with Kane on LTIR. They won't be able to effectively add accrued cap space plus the LTIR pool. It's one or the other. Their roster is now at a cap hit of 88.05. If they use the LTIR pool, they get to 93.1 million, meaning they can add a $5.0 million player. At the deadline, without LTIR, they can add a $1 million of an annual cap hit still be under the cap. But if they do that, the annual cap hit is 89 million, leaving only 93. Oh, he does a math equation. 44.1 million available to add if
40 million
the LTIR space.
Wow.
So, sorry, there's one more bit. So the most they can do, they can add, even if Kane is on LTIR, is 5.1 million total, more than annual cap hit. Does that make sense?
So I do understand it now, because when you're in LTIR, you cannot, the accrued thing doesn't apply to you, right? You know, the math we were doing earlier in the year of like, if they can sit with 1.5 million in cap space from the start till the deadline, then they'd have 4.5 million. Well, because they put Kane on LTIR at the beginning of the year instead of just waiting until the deadline to do that, which from what I'm reading is just an unforced error, they could have double dipped and gone up to that 4 or 5 million, however much, and then dipped into Kane's LTIR. But because they put Kane in on LTIR early, they've now limited themselves to
but
just
I thought they didn't do that. That was the whole plan.
Do it.
Well,
but he wasn't on LTIR.
They put him on.
But they wanted to get as close to that as possible. I thought that was
they put him on LTIR after the season started, not before the season started. That's the barrier.
The Carolina Hurricanes also did that because Hart was on our show and was like, Carolina is like $26 in cap space technically. Do you remember that?
That's why I thought like it was a good thing what they did.
I thought so too. Now
but again,
someone's duping us.
I'm still looking at the positive. If you got $5 million to spend at the trade deadline and you get Evander Kane back for the playoffs, that is a good spot to be in.
Yes,
I agree. But here's another thing with the money. And Tyler and I were talking about this today. they kind of won't they don't only need this, but their biggest priority is they need another defenseman.
Yes.
If they don't add another forward, that's also okay.
Yes.
So it's not the end of the world.
No.
Maybe it's a good thing. And also, it's definitely not a good thing. Matt Larkin was on the show today, and Frank was talking. We were talking about Frank earlier in the week too. Stan Bowman isn't like a huge swinger at the deadline. He really adds the depth guys like Johnny Oduya. Antoine Vermette was a guy who they won the Stanley Cup with, I believe. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, Andrew Desharnais was one of their pickups one year.
He likes to chip away at the bottom of the pile and kind of build them up because obviously the Oilers have top guys.
And he did say in his media in his media avail today that he's definitely nibbling more around the edges versus whatever. So
well, like,
that's what you're
at the forward side, like you don't need a big piece really.
No,
not at all, especially with Kane coming back. Like
right?
You said.
Like
I think you need a 3C still.
Well, see, would you consider a 3C a major impactful trade, or is that more nibbling around the edges?
That is my good point. That is my second piece. Defenseman is my number one. Whether you get your top four right shot or you get your bottom pair and fifth guy and you can rotate with Kulak, whatever it is, that clearly is a place they need to upgrade.
The other thing I would add, sorry, go ahead.
That was it.
So the other thing I would add about like Bowman not being aggressive at the trade deadline is that's what he did in Chicago.
Yeah.
He's got an owner here that maybe it's a different situation where he's like, go spend what you got to spend. I got deep pockets. The money is not a concern to me.
Yeah, I feel like Jeff Jackson will be pushing him in that direction.
What are you chuckling at?
Would you sit like that? Your hand is just, but your hand just looks massive in the shot because it's like leaning over the edge like that.
But
yeah, there you go.
To go back to what you were saying, Bag Milk, like Bowman's situation in Chicago was pretty ideal as well. Like the structure of those teams, they were very happy with and very confident in. Their defense pairings was Duncan Keith and Seabrook. So I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. It's a very different situation than the Oilers are in right now. And Bowman, frankly, has had no real fingerprint on this lineup whatsoever. So I don't know. Like I hear that criticism or that thought, but
I would also
a new team.
Just to add on to, I would say like the moves he has done right now, albeit minor, have been impactful in the sense that Podkolzin for a 4th round pick, that is a great trade.
Yeah.
Will not take any debates on it.
Weaseled the Blues out of an extra third in the offer.
Kasperi Kapanen off waivers turned into a valuable piece where now Derek Ryan is on the outside looking in to get into the lineup. I remember when he first got claimed off waivers, we were talking about, all right, when people start getting healthy, who's coming out? And Kapanen's name was kind of one of the first ones we were talking about. And then he started playing well. And now he's just a fixture.
Ty Emerson,
a solid trade.
He obviously did not make the big moves over the summer. He wasn't here. But I think the situation he was put in so far,
he's done very well.
He's been able to jump over all these hurdles. And hey, would the Oilers be better with Holloway and Broberg? Yeah, they would be. They're better players than Podkolzin and Emerson. There's no argument. Maybe a little bit, but he did well to come out of it on the other side.
I'll defend Emerson in that conversation.
Sorry?
Did you say Emerson?
I said Holloway and Broberg as a duo are better than Emerson and Podkolzin as a duo.
They're kind of the guys he brought into his place, those spots.
Okay.
Yeah, like they always didn't get better, but they didn't get that much worse.
I think Ty Emerson is a better fit for the team than Broberg would have been.
I would agree. But I think if I had to pick one or the other.
Holloway, no contest.
Yeah.
I miss him.
But he's done okay.
Anyway, there's a delicious debate. I don't know if we settled anything on the Kane conversation. All I know is that we're cheating and I'm into it.
I just want the image of Liam with his hands on his head when he was reading that money tweet before he did. That's what I want as the image of this episode.
If I'm understanding it correctly, the Oilers basically are just going to put Kane on LTIR and they're going to use that money. Right?
Yeah. That's kind of what it sounds like.
Pretty much what it is, right?
One thought that I had is wasn't the move to put Kane on the LTIR after the season started with the intent or the idea that he was going to come back at some point this season?
Yeah, because he was supposed to come back at some point in Q1.
Versus thinking that he was going to be out for the whole season where he would have been left on the
I think so.
Yeah.
LTIR.
I think that was part of the conversation. So
Wink.
that leads you, that makes you wonder, because that's the other part of it too, is they have clearly been trying to accrue cap. I'm pretty sure they've mentioned it numerous times that their plan is to accrue as much money as they can.
And we've seen it through transactions.
Well, you saw with the old, I don't even know what his name is. Regula.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. That's a cap move.
He is on the team.
I'd like to know what exactly he had done to his knee and what type of a injury was. This did he sustain it while he was trying to?
I'll Google it for you, Rick.
Oh, please, thank you.
Injury.
Did he sustain it while he was, during this time he's had off?
In my head, I like to imagine it as one of those ones with the little robots with the long tube that goes in, and they were doing cool shit.
I
You
got
ever seen
an
those
answer.
videos on TikTok where they like dissect a grape with those little things? It's cool.
I got an answer from Hart.
Go ahead.
So I asked Puckpedia, I said, is it fair to call this an unforced error on the Oilers' part? And this is his answer. He says it's hard to be that harsh on them. It was a decent strategy if you expected Kane to come back during the season. And they definitely expected that because that's a big part of why they didn't want to spend money to match either offer sheet. To me, the actual error was not matching an offer sheet because they were worried it would be tight if Kane came back and everyone was healthy. When are teams ever all healthy? That's Hart's take on the whole thing.
Okay.
So he is taking all blame away from the Oilers here. Well, in terms of this,
Offer sheet aside.
yeah, that we should have dealt, and I agree with him on that side.
Well, that's Ken Holland's problem, not Stan Bowman's problem.
Well, it ended up being Stan Bowman's problem.
Ken Holland's fault, Stan Bowman's problem.
Yes,
He was told to get it done.
yes.
Stan
Holland.
When you
Alright.
snap at me, I was like a dog.
You're standing for Holland.
Stan Holland here.
What a mess. I feel like this is just.
You want to move
Why?
on now?
No,
move on.
no, this is very,
It's like Waz in that
very
meeting earlier.
annoying. Sorry?
It was Waz in our meeting earlier where he was like, I just want to say something. You know what? Move on from me.
Yeah.
That was it.
We had a social meeting and Waz just like puts his hand up and he goes, you know what? Never mind. Move on. It's like, okay.
This whole situation just seems very dumb. And clearly Hart is, I think it is fair to be critical of them. They have people in these positions who like should run through these situations with them. And
They knew the situation. And
But if they
Evander
thought
Kane
Kane was
still
coming back,
he still says he plans on being healthy this season.
but you should tell him he's not coming back.
How do you tell him? You can't. That's not even legal.
And
I mean,
I feel like
it's January 10th. Kane has been out. I know he had one surgery and he's got to get another one, but like,
You had it already.
you can push things a week and be fine.
But also Evander
Yeah.
Kane, Evander Kane, the player, has also caused, I think, some of this from the standpoint of last year we heard he's injured, and then all of a sudden he's golfing. And then all of a sudden we're talking as a team the next week about how there was an injury.
But he
And-
also came out today and said, I'm not frustrated with the situation of not playing.
But before
He's
this,
getting
he's
healthy.
banged up.
Exactly. So what's another week? Be like, hey, Evander.
Like,
you
what
wanna
did he
win a
say? Like
Stanley
in the
Cup?
playoffs, he had 8 or 9 needles per game just to play.
9 1 7 the other.
And I'm not
sure they
denying
kept
that he
going.
was like seriously hurt. I think to get to a Stanley Cup final and not being able to play,
That is crazy.
that is something players will not do unless they really can't
Right.
do it. So I genuinely believe he is 100% hurt. Evidently, by the 3 surgeries he's going to have, or 2, whatever it is. But like,
2.
the playoffs are 13 weeks away. As an organization, you can be like, slight setback.
But that's going to happen anyway.
Why do you,
Exactly. So
do you
why
wanna-
do we not
why do you
spend
want to have the
9
whole year off? The dude's in his is he 30?
Yeah, but you might not be able to
38, right?
afford to bring him
32.
back now.
Well,
based on
yes, you're gonna have to do so. You're gonna have to come up with a move. I agree with you there, 100%. However, why would you sit there and go, "Hey, dude, who's almost 30, maybe over 30? I can't quite remember his age. You need to take the entire year off and then come back for the playoffs." This whole time, I've always assumed he would have probably 10 games to get back into it.
But yeah,
He can go on a conditioning stint to Bakersfield.
he could.
That is not going to do anything. When you
It
guys,
100% would do something.
it would do. Okay, yeah, I take it back. It would not be the same as playing in the NHL though.
No,
But Rick,
and that is-
if no one else is hurt on the team, you can't just bring them back. Like,
I think
No, but how many?
But then
guys
we
can
don't
you-
have to
how
worry
many-
about it. It's happening in the playoffs.
I think what Rick, like I hear what you're saying, Rick, and I think that the X factor here is Evander Kane versus Nikita Kucherov versus Mark Stone. Those two guys willing to play ball with the team. I don't think
You have
Evander
no
Kane
idea.
is that.
you don't think Evander Kane's been willing to play ball?
I-
He just
no.
got a surgery.
No, but I'm just saying that he didn't want. I don't think Evander Kane would be a guy that would want to be told that he can't come back this year.
I think it would be very easy to convince Evander Kane to sit out the whole year and get paid and get 100% healthy.
I would
that's-
bet everything in Tyler's betting account, he is going to have a setback and we will see him for game 1.
that's
that-
why
How
I
many
see-
guys can you put in? How many guys can you still send down to Bako,
I don't know.
Tyler?
can you send down to Bakersfield?
Without going through waivers and can you, how many
Brown,
guys
can
can
you
you
go down?
shuffle down
That'd
without
be a
getting
big
in
bet
trouble?
for bagged milk. That counts at 0.
Emerson, I think, can go. Okay.
0 times a million is
He's the
still
only
a
one.
million.
Is he the only one?
Do we have any other rookies on the team?
No, we don't have any rookies. Period. I think Emerson's our youngest player, isn't he?
Yeah.
Also, he is a
Is
rookie, but
Emerson
he's still
technically a rookie?
24.
No, he played over 30 games last year. He's not a rookie
Yeah, I
anymore.
think he's the only one.
Puckpedia, waiver exempt players. Yep, there's none.
All right, we're gonna move
Who
along.
pays for the
Keep
rookie
this-
dinner then?
I would assume they didn't have one.
Oh, I'd assume it's
Emerson's
probably
gonna fit that bill.
tomorrow.
He's the closest too.
Probably Nobby.
His price is right.
Where are they
Rules.
tomorrow?
Chicago.
And where does almost everybody have the rookie party? Because they have the gigantic steakhouse that everybody loves.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Not everybody, but some.
Connor's like, I am rookie. Me love steak. Anyway, let's move along. Or do you want to talk about more Kane?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Frank Saravalli mentioned that the Oilers could be looking at a Mattias Ekholm-sized impact move on their back end. And I quote, I would guess if they could get their hands on it, a pretty sizable defenseman in terms of impact. Think if you can, like, take the bat off your shoulder and do it. Something like a Mattias Ekholm-sized impact. Now, that's easy to talk about and harder to execute. But the other thing we know is that the Oilers have been really flexible this season, and Brett Kulak has provided some of that flexibility playing on his offhand side. In an ideal world, if you could construct the ideal trade target, that person would be a top 4 right shot defenseman that you could plug into the lineup. But that's not a stone cold guarantee that that person that they target is a right shot guy. It could be a lefty as well. All I know is that I'm reading Frank's words from your show, Tyler, and he says it seems like the Oilers want to make a bigger swing than just nibbling around the edges, and I'm all for it.
In that one spot, and I agree with that, but I think that we've been, at least this room, we've all been saying that the entire year. And I think we got off the whole lefty-righty train a couple of weeks ago too, once he realized
player
Kulak,
available.
like Kulak can go over there. Whatever, we may not
Center,
need the
flip
lefty-righty thing. Yes, flip him. Just flip him. He'll be fine. It works very well.
Flip anybody. Yeah, I'm with you guys.
Flip the Skinners, whatever it works. But yeah, I think we've been saying that for a while. That's pretty much what I've expected.
I just think, like, if the Oilers have a way to find somebody that's impactful with term, like, unload the clip on it. You know,
I think that's fair.
like where they're at right now as an organization, like, unload the clip on it.
I don't think he means term. I think he means like, dude, on like if you can get me Ekholm on the ice and his contract's up this year, I'm still doing it.
Yeah, I think they still do it, but like,
You would
obviously, if you
prefer
can find
term, obviously. However, if you can get me that guy with at the end of it, this is it for his contract.
I was asked a question
Get over
yesterday
it,
on
please.
Low Tide Show, and I want to ask you guys, if that trade becomes available where it's more of an Ekholm sized trade, but Matt Savoy has to be part of what goes out, do you do that or do you have to wait on it?
I think it's anyone but Savoy. Maybe
said
even Sam O'Reilly, but I'm probably okay with. Like, at some point, you need to do that. Okay, we need some infusion of youth in the next few years. So like Savoy's where I draw the line. Depending on the defenseman, I'm probably okay with Sam O'Reilly, but it needs to be someone real good if it's going to be Sam O'Reilly.
But if it's someone real good, does Savoy get in there?
No.
So there's 6 defensemen that you would do it for Savoy, and the rest are no. I'm just saying 6 because there's got to be 6 names out there you'd say yes to.
Yeah, like I don't think there's a realistic name out there that I'd be okay trading Matt Savoy for, but I would be okay with a Bo Akey or a Sam O'Reilly if the piece is good enough coming back.
That's fair.
And it has to have term. It has to be this
Yeah, it's
year
not like a rental.
and minimum 1 more. I would argue minimum 2 more if I'm trading Bo Akey.
Or we get to have the discussion with them and not get the contract signed, but all but signed, and cool. Then we'll
Or get the contract signed.
Liam, would you
Yeah,
include
you
Matt
also-
Savoy in a trade?
No. Those guys don't get traded at deadlines.
I'm surprised he got traded in the first place.
But Buffalo have had a lot of prospects to give up. Like the Oilers don't.
And they're doing great.
And Savoy, Savoy is the best prospect the Oilers have. Like he's going to have more impact on this team than what a rental would have.
Does he play in October?
What year?
This year.
This year.
October.
Does he start next season with us?
Yeah.
Yes. So I think you need at least one guy to make the jump from Bako to Edmonton. I think he's the easiest option. I think after that it's Philp. And after that it's probably, oh boy, we're in a bit of trouble.
Olivier Rodrigue.
I was thinking forwards, but yeah.
Oh.
Dan,
Yeah,
would you
that's it.
include Matt Savoy in a trade if it was the right person?
It would have to be pretty damn good for a team that is now, like, we've spent the last calendar year lamenting the loss of Dylan Holloway and young scoring on this team to go out and get rid of more youthful scoring when we right now have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to wingers, but at some point that dries up and this team has struggled to try and find wingers before. Why not have some in your hopper to be able to just pull up out of the farm team?
Liam, just because it was our dream scenario today, if you called Boston and said Brandon Carlo and they said, done deal, all we want is Matt Savoy. No picks, nothing. Just give us Matt Savoy. For Carlo, 3 more years, 4.2 mil. Right shot, 28-year-old D-man.
No.
Oh, see, and that's the one where I think I'm like, if you're getting someone a defenseman who's in his prime for 3 more years, dirt cheap like that, you probably have to do it.
I don't think so. I don't think you're wrong. And it's definitely a harder decision than me just saying no on a podcast. But I just think Savoy you can get that guy in your top 6 for the next just 2 years after, he's into the league and he's producing at his rookie deal, then that could be more impactful than what Brandon Carlo could bring to your lineup.
For the record, I told Low Tide no.
Is that because you can move Emerson up to where you have Carlo next year?
It's a decent point.
Do him at a 3-4 year, get him probably guaranteed underneath the $4 million, I believe. And then just have to replace your number 3 right-hand defenseman.
Then going forward, you're just tinkering with your bottom pairing.
The other thing that came out of Tyler and Liam's show this week was an interesting quote from Frank about the Ekholm trade.
My goodness.
This one made some movement on the website as well. It was almost Jacob Chychrun, sounded like. And I quote, this is Frank talking. In the last hour before making the deal, I had tweets queued up ready to tweet that the Oilers were getting Jacob Chychrun, or they had been in deep discussions with Arizona to get Chychrun. So even as much as Ekholm deal feels like a slam dunk now, and I think Ken Holland specifically was always leaning more towards Ekholm than Chychrun, but it came down to a value thing. Like, hey, Nashville keeps kind of pushing this along, and are we willing to pay that much? Even that day, it was never 100% Ekholm over Chychrun. I thought that was a really interesting quote by Frank on your guys' show this week.
Are we happy having Ekholm right now instead of Chychrun?
Without question.
Yeah, right. And now, did you say that Nashville kept pushing that trade towards us? We were not pushing towards Nashville?
Seems like it. Seems like Nashville was willing to engage more is how I take that.
I think it was more, like Edmonton was almost like preliminary discussions with Nashville about Ekholm, and then it was like
they kept calling us.
It's like, they're serious about selling off. Like they maybe were fielding other offers, so they kept coming back to Edmonton.
But our offer was they thought we could get the best.
Probably, yeah.
Interesting.
Moving things along to keep us on schedule. Just a quick note: the Penticton Young Stars tournament has been canceled for the upcoming year.
Yep, wokeism strikes again. Cancel culture.
Oilers only scored 1 goal in it, so I'm fine.
Why did it get canceled?
We don't have any kids to play in anyways.
Because Vancouver and Seattle are creating their own.
Oh,
I think is the idea.
And because
Alberta left out of the loop again.
It's another 20 minutes of a flight to fly over there. Why can't we be involved in theirs? Or are they just saying this one's done? And
I saw that the Kraken and the Canucks announced that they're going to do a mini 2-game series against each other in their prospects.
Just probably you probably don't need to do the whole rookie tournament. You can probably just have the Oilers play the Flames a couple of times. Saskatoon or Red Deer, and then be like, we're good.
This is the statement from Jim Rutherford, in case you're interested. The Vancouver Canucks organization would like to sincerely thank the city of Penticton for an incredible job of supporting and hosting the Young Stars, the staff at the Okanagan, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, we were unable to secure commitments from the other teams for next fall, so regrettably, we will not be hosting a Penticton Young Stars tournament in 2025. The organization will explore other opportunities with the city and has not closed the door on participating in a Young Stars tournament in future years. But next September, we are excited to go to Seattle and start this series with the Kraken. So
no one
sounds like the Oilers or Flames may not have been all that interested to play anyway.
No one's called up OEG to ask them what their
Jets, they don't even have an airport. So those kids had to take a long ass bus ride to Penticton.
It takes a while. Yeah.
Were the Jets there?
Yep.
Oh yeah. So Saskatoon probably makes more sense for the 3 teams then.
Yeah. Or just why not? Who cares?
Put them on a bus. Send the road.
You got to be a company guy.
The person I feel most bad. I feel most bad for Bruce Kurlock. He loves that tournament. You know what I mean? Anyway,
too bad. I'll remember that one time that one player fought in all 3 games.
Connor Clattenburg.
I thought it was Nate Corbett.
You're looking at the wrong guy.
I should probably know. I don't. Off the top
time for Ask the Idiots, gentlemen. I got 4 questions for you this week, presented by the Nation Vacation to Vegas. We are going to Vegas in late March / early April for Edmonton taking on Vegas, and what looks like it could be a pretty important game at that point of the season. We have 2 options available for you. We've got the flight package if you want to join us on the plane, and we've got the no flight package if you got points or you want to make your way down there. Maybe you're already down in Vegas and you just want to hang out with us. We got a couple options for you. So go to nationgear.ca, book that. Trips are starting to move now, and I don't want you to miss out. So come hang out with us down in Vegas. It is going to be a great time. Ask the Idiot's question. We're starting from our boy Steven Fiddler. Ooh. Tyler, I'm going to start with you. I know you like trade proposals. So the question is, with Kane's cap space available for the deadline, so we're $5 million. We're not doing the math again. Say $5 million. Who is a D-man everyone thinks that the Oilers should target with that space? And he continues, he goes, based on what we gave up for Ekholm, I'd like to make the following trade. To the New York Islanders, a first-round pick down the line, a fourth-round pick, and Bo Akey for Ryan Pulock.
Ryan Pulock is 30 years old. He shoots right. He has $6.15 million left on a deal that expires in 2030. So I believe that would be 5 more years on that contract. He also has a full no trade clause.
The Oilers can't afford it.
You could.
I thought we just said they had $5 million.
5.1.
Yeah, send somebody down.
And yeah, Josh Brown would go down. So then you're good.
Josh Brown should go down anyway. Anyway, back to you.
Decent point.
When Leon passed him that puck on the blue line last night, man, drove me nuts.
Yeah.
He's your trigger man on that line.
So
He's your trigger man.
I don't know. It's not Josh Brown's fault.
So I don't know if I necessarily love Pulock. I think I do. I would do that deal. I would do the deal.
But who's your guy? He's asking you. He wants to know your trade target.
That's what I thought the question.
Mike Matheson in Montreal. 4-some million. So you could get him and do a little bit more on the forward group. 1 more year after this one. Skates well, passes well, left shot, but is very good on the right side. Defends great. Mike Matheson's my guy.
My guy is a guy out of Colorado, Josh Manson. I think he's got a value contract at $4.5 million. He plays the right side. And man, is he mean. And I love that mean streak about him. I think he would just be a solid defender to come in. And also, the great thing because you steal him from Colorado and they don't have him anymore.
Not that I think Colorado would trade Josh Manson, but I would love that because, I mean, even just last night, Stu getting hit by Zadorov drove me fucking nuts. Nobody even looked. Now he's a big man. I don't expect you to fight Zadorov because he's a gigantic human, but swing a stick at him, something.
Phil Kessel to John Scott.
Yeah, maybe. I'd take that over absolutely nothing or everybody holding their hands up in the air. Anyway.
Let me rant in my cold performer.
Okay. Rick, you got a trade target?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, not really. I know the type of defenseman I want, and it's like I suppose like an Ekholm, which is that's probably more of a pie in the sky type of a deal. And I'm gonna hate saying this.
Go ahead.
The Rasmus Anderson, because that's what I was going to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck, I feel filthy.
Oh, you love him.
Fuck, I feel filthy.
I was going to say Rasmus Anderson straight up. He's annoying. He can chip in with some offense. He's got another year left on his deal. Would the Flames trade him here? Probably not. We saw it with Tanev last year, but I would pick Rasmus Anderson. He's annoying.
Yeah.
I want more guys who are annoying.
I hate that. I hate myself.
Hey, we all got to hate ourselves sometimes. I do it most days. Liam, you got a trade target?
Yes, I do have a trade target.
Go ahead.
He's on Frank's list. Still a young man. I'm going to go with Andre Miller. I think that'd be a good ad. Frank basically just described Darnell Nurse when he was talking about him. From when he just said he's an athletic guy who sometimes you don't really know what he's going to do.
Let's get them both. Collect the whole set.
But he's only 24. He's an RFA at the end of the year. He makes $3.872 million. Get a little bit retained on it for the remainder of the year, and I think you've got yourself a player.
Also, I'm very much Team Daryl this year, so
I am too. I'm pro Daryl.
Just for the record, the question was like your dream addition, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, because
you have $5 million to spend, essentially.
Well, but see, Liam's is way more realistic than mine. Mine was out pie in the sky, dream.
Hey, dream big, baby. That's what I always say. Next question, we're reversing the order, starting with you, Liam. This is just a fun question. This one comes in from oil and orange and blue in my veins. What is your biggest Oiler/NHL pet peeve?
Oh,
Like of all time?
Whatever you want.
Oh my goodness.
Floor is open.
Is this a pet peeve? I actually think the lack of progression in technology is like a pet peeve.
Sure.
Is that a good one?
I'd like
Outside of equipment.
Sorry, I should be smart. Review.
like you're talking like review technology. Yeah, sure.
Like it's out there. We see it in like tennis. God damn it! Like forever. It's always
ball
been
tracker.
like that. Like
Ass cheeks in soccer over the
yeah, like
we know.
They've literally like gone out and been like, we can put chips in pucks and like done that stupid thing where the puck has a tail and all that stuff. It's like, well, tell me if the puck goes over the line or not. And not because you can't see it because the goalie's glove is black.
Certainly there's got to be some kind of sensors we can put under the ice on the goal line or something like.
Yeah,
sure.
It's got to work.
I'll buy that.
But that drives me bonkers.
Rick, biggest NHL/Oilers pet peeve.
I do agree with you there, Liam, but I'm going to stick to the Oilers here. And it's not even the current day Oilers because this has been happening almost my entire life. But it's games like the first period last night.
Yeah.
It's when you like just kind of coast. It's like you think
they were
so good. The other team's just going to get out of the way.
They were so bad in the first period.
Go out there and play the fucking game. But we see this with like every edition of the Oilers I can think of, which doesn't make sense because everything has been changed from players to management to trainers to coaches to ownership to it doesn't make sense to me. But when you see what they do like last night, and we've seen it a trillion times over my life, it's fucked. Is that a pet peeve?
The best part about last night is it just took us almost 40 minutes to talk about it on this show.
Dead on 40 minutes. Yeah.
Right?
But like at the same point, it's so
then
annoying.
we're done. Just like the team yesterday. We play 40 minutes if they play 40 minutes. We're going to nail in the last 20 like they did the first 20.
I did have it on my list in the news, but then we talked about Evander Kane for 30 minutes.
I think I was better.
Yeah, because the last night was so annoying. Not only because of my puck line dreams.
I sweated out a +2.5 Oilers.
Live.
The empty net. Yeah, I lied better. I'm like, I gotta get something. And then they pulled the goalie. I'm like, oh no, and they just kept missing. It was awesome.
On the bright side, I hit Draisaitl and McDavid 2+ points in a little parlay. I was like, yay, womp womp. Dan, biggest pet peeve from the Oilers or the NHL?
I think this is one that's just kind of always stuck with me, and it was more pertinent back in the decade of darkness, but it's the way that our AHL franchise has never really been like a flagship of ours. I feel like the Oilers organization and Canadian teams in general should be able to do a better job of managing their teams and creating a place and a system where you're constantly churning out some talent and some success. And we just have never seen it as an organization consistently. You watch a team like Detroit with Grand Rapids, where the Griffins are just consistently in the mix and doing stuff as an organization. We just don't see it from the Condors.
Developing young talent.
We had a great run there for a little bit when Woody was down there. Like it was like
that's
Bear,
fair.
Jones, and like that whole kind of era of like Bear, Jones, Bouchard all came up through the system, became good NHLers for a stretch. And then up front, you had guys like Ryan McLeod come through. I mean, Holloway developed there, Broberg developed there. Like it's happened.
Yeah, that's fair.
But if you go back
just
far, and like you said, it is more from the decade of darkness.
Yeah.
And you do go back because we had a guy like Alexander Giroux, who was the best AHL player, which is cool to have and helps you win. But it also plays in a spot where you could have somebody could be growing into that spot. And
there was I have the trauma of the time when we were in Hamilton for a spell. Then we went to Edmonton, and then we didn't have an organization. And Jeff Drouin-Delorier was sent off to Carolina's affiliate to play, and it was just an absolute mess. And I really feel like the organization had to recover from that consistently and over again. I just would like to see more consistency from that AHL franchise.
I love the vibes down in Baco, but there's a part of me that wishes we were like everyone else and had our American League team in our backyard. Like it's just such a benefit to be able to send someone, Abbotsford, Calgary's in Calgary, Winnipeg, Toronto, like, hey, we're going to send you down for the weekend, go play 2 games, then come back.
Yep.
But with today's technology, like that, what's that big deal? Like
but they're not privately flying them around.
We learned this.
They get them on a
Brian
plane.
Holt said they're flying.
They what?
Didn't you reach out to him?
Yeah, they fly commercial.
Yeah.
And the team bus has 8
I'm just saying, like
pretzels,
but like the Evander Kane thing
and a ginger ale.
Will he go down to the American League to rehab? I think that's a totally different conversation. If the team plays in Edmonton or in Red Deer, and it's like, yeah, just go drive an hour, go play, and come back.
But I think old DK pulls out the PJ for
how
that.
many Evander Kanes in the NHL are going to the AHL to have a conditioning stint these days?
I don't know.
I think it happened a lot more back in the day, and probably in baseball more than anything else. But you really don't see that in hockey anymore.
Let me get Ron Tugnut on the phone. He'll know. Okay. Early 90s Oilers goaltender.
He had one. Who was he playing for? He had like 70 saves in one.
Ottawa, I think.
Ottawa.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, incredible.
Yes, Liam.
Ronick assigned to the AHL for a conditioning stint. Yes.
Yeah, and then his agent though came out and was like, "If you think he's playing a game down there, you're an idiot."
Who said that?
His agent quote tweeted our Jeff Patterson and was like, if you think he's going down there, like you're a moron, blah, blah, and like said all this shit. I'm paraphrasing. And someone replied, I think Matt Sekera stood up for him and was like, a normal person could have just quote tweeted this and said, hey, for those who don't know, he won't go down. And but Walsh just like put J-Pat on blast. And J-Pat was like, what?
I do feel like there's a I'm not playing down there type of mentality to a large chunk of NHLers.
Yeah, probably.
Like baseball, you see it, but that's really only a sport because there is no feeder system in the NFL. I suppose
they just cut you outright.
Yeah, you just go sit on your couch and go play for the Rock. Or like NBA. Do they do that a lot in the NBA? I know they have. That's about the only other league that has like a feeder system, but I don't even think they do that very often there either. These guys are too diva-ish now.
Moving along. This is, so you got to follow me on the weeds on this one. This is from our girl Landon. You've seen her on Twitter, of course. So a guy named Steven Ruiz tweeted that every NFL team should be allowed to pick one player to be on PEDs. So her question is, can you apply this logic to the Oilers and who's getting a dose of roids? Sure, turning McDavid into an actual cyborg might be tempting, but maybe we're better off to turn Stu into the Hulk or maybe Perry 10 years younger. Options are endless. Can't wait to hear who everyone picks. So Rick, who's getting a cycle?
Yeah, you know what? Connor and Leon don't need it. You really tempted me by saying bring Corey Perry back to like 10 years ago.
If you could get MVP Corey Perry back on that line, come on. Oilers one of the only teams in the league with a 50-goal score on all four lines.
That's a decent answer, actually.
I think the Hulk in net is probably not very good. It's like Billy Smith and Ron Hextall. They're going to lose him a lot. You're going to get angry. You have Zadorov, comes into the crease, and Zadorov's probably underneath the ice right now, and Stu's probably in jail, so we're not going to go there. I'm going to stick with Corey Perry.
Dan, who's getting a cycle?
Well,
lift up that level of play.
These are all interesting ideas, but I think we're still looking at the defense to fix things. And so I was thinking about giving it to Tony Stetcher just to be able to stay healthy. But I think for the playoffs in mind, I'm going to give it to Brett Kulak. He's a guy that this team just seems to count on when it comes down to those playoff minutes. So just want Kulak to be extra good.
Tyler, who's getting a cycle of roids?
I'm going to say Nuge.
Yeah. All right.
I think he's like obviously like wicked smart, but can you imagine if his shot was like better and he was faster and like rolled over guys and Nuge was just like jacked as hell?
And he's a little bit angrier.
Yeah. Like pissed off Nuge with his hockey sense. That'd be great.
Liam, who you got?
I wonder if Daryl.
It's a good pick.
Yeah, Daryl is my pick.
He's already got a lot of tools in the toolkit. He's fast. He's big. Can you imagine if he's 3 times as strong? Come on. Along the same lines, I'm going to give mine to he needs a cycle. Evan Bouchard, I'm going to give it to you because even when you're mailing it in on the back check, maybe if your legs are twice as strong, your glides are just longer. You get back there quicker. And imagine the Bouch bomb if he is just absolutely shredded.
Yeah, now block it. Now stand in front of it.
Get in the way now.
There goes half your leg. Just
get in the way
off
now.
Like a G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. There's one question from Landon coming in. What are you chuckling at?
The shot would have gone right through Hyman's face.
Yeah. Zach Hyman. You know what? Keep the bubble up.
Rasmus Anderson did an interview with Eric Francis and was asked about the trade rumors. And he said, quote, I hate the Oilers. I hate the Canucks. That's just the way I am.
Good. Bring him in.
You know what? Now I like him a little bit more.
Yeah, I do too. You know what? He's loyal to a terrible team.
He should hate us.
Yeah, he should. He should. Final question. Ask the idiots. Dan, I'm starting with you. Oh God. This is from Brent. Very important question, Dan. Would you rather have a roommate who is always dressed like a clown or always dressed as the team mascot? And why?
I think I would choose the mascot just because you would always expect it to be jarring, not with a clown where it's going to be unexpectedly jarring. So yeah, I'm going to go with the meth cat for a roommate.
Tyler, you get to live with a clown, full-time clown, or full-time mascot? Are you picking and why?
I pick Hunter. I choose Hunter.
And why?
Something about the way mascots' eyes look. Like, can you imagine just like having to have a serious sit down with them about something and they're just looking at you with those fucking eyes and you're like, what?
He lifts the abs up at you?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Rick, you got a clown or a mascot? Who are you living with?
We're going Hunter. He's got the strict
and we have a general idea of how much money he makes. So he'd be a good, he'd be a good roommate.
He's got the physicality there. Also, if his family comes over, That's fine. If the clown's family comes over, that's terrifying.
Yep, they're all dressed like clowns.
Oh
too.
yeah, you want that? Nuh-uh.
Good point. Hunter only has custody of his kid 1 game a year. So, you wouldn't have the little one running around too much.
See you at the holidays. Liam, are you living with a full-time clown or a full-time mascot?
Probably a mascot. I think it's just the way to go. Maybe Gritty.
Gritty would be fun. I would also pick the mascot. It's easy. First of all, I hate clowns.
Can you imagine having little hunters all over the place?
Yeah.
Cool. Little clowns all over, like little dolls and shit? No.
Mm-mm. I'm a big fan of the movie It, and I don't want anything resembling Pennywise in my house. I don't understand anybody who likes clowns. I don't understand anybody who brings clowns to children's birthday parties. I will take a mascot, assuming they are also not able to talk. That's just good living.
Yeah.
Silent roommate. Assign them some duties, some chores. All right, there you go. Ask the idiots for the Nation Vacation. Go book your spot along with us at nationgear.ca. Got to do some real quick betting talk for our friends at Bet365. So I figured I'd just run through some futures. We'll play a little guess that line for some futures. All Oilers futures here, gentlemen. Open an account today. Whoop. There's my plug. The betting segment is brought to you by our friends at Bet365, proud partner of Oilers Nation Radio. Open an account at Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the moment, whatever the sport, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use the code NATION. We're just going to play a little guess that line here. Got some, as of this morning, some futures. Tyler, do you believe that the Oilers Stanley Cup odds have moved recently? What are they? They are favorited. I will give you that.
I think I saw them at plus 650 the other day. So is it that? That's my guess.
Liam, Oilers Cup odds. They are favorited as a little teaser for you.
550.
Rick?
You said they have changed. They've gotten better.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not just. Changed. They might not have changed.
Oh, I feel you. I'm going to stick with plus 750.
Dan, what do you got? What's your guess?
700.
Dan nails it. Ding, ding, ding. Price is Right rules. The Oilers are listed at plus 700 to win the Stanley Cup, courtesy of our friends at Bet365. How about this one gets a little bit more interesting? Vegas is favorited on this one to win the Pacific Division. The Oilers are second in line for that. They are Vegas is minus 125 to win the division today. What is the Oilers line, Rick? They're in second.
Minus 220.
Plus 350.
Oh, I meant to say plus, by the way. Yeah.
No take backs. Plus 200.
I'll say plus 240.
They're plus 210. Liam gets the Price is Right rules win. Vegas is the favorite at minus 125. Then the Oilers at plus 210. Kings at plus 330. And then it drops all the way down. The Canucks plus 3,000. Unfortunate for you. By the way, interesting that I find 2 seasons in a row. Was it 2 seasons in a row where the Oilers broke the Flames and then the Canucks? Or no, I guess there was a gap in the middle. But play us in the second round. Your franchise is broken. Next up, Dan, starting with you. How about Oilers to win the conference? They are not favorited to win their division, but they are favorited to win the conference.
This is to come out of the conference and make the cup.
They'll be the Western Conference
That's right.
Division
Western Conference champions.
Much like last year.
I will say that they're the favorite.
They are the favorite.
I'll say plus 350.
Plus 320.
Rick, we got a guess? Oilers to win the conference. Rick.
Oh, me? Let's go to plus 180.
Liam.
Plus 300.
Is plus 350. So the winners go to plus 350. Next up, Vegas is plus 500 to win the conference. Finally,
Just
President's
screw you to the other
Trophy.
division, eh?
Sorry?
Just a big screw you to the other division.
Pretty much. The President's Trophy. The Oilers are currently 5th on the list. The top 4 teams are Vegas at plus 400, Washington at plus 500, and the Winnipeg Jets and Dallas Stars are both plus 700 to win the President's Trophy. The Oilers are up next in 5th spot. Guess that line, Tyler.
Plus 800.
Dan?
Plus 900.
Rick?
Let's go plus 850.
750. Plus 750.
Liam gets another one, plus 750 for the Oilers to win the President's Trophy. That is for the most points in the NHL. That is one of those ones where it's like, meh. That team doesn't generally win the Stanley Cup anyway, so who cares? But there you go. A little update on the futures for our friends at Bet365. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use the code NATION to make it happen. Let's wrap up the podcast with some hot cold performers for nationgear.ca. If you want to go stock up on something, use the promo code BAGMILK10. You'll get 10% off your order. That is not applicable to Nation Vacations or anything that we have to do with charity. So go get yourself something and upgrade your wardrobe. You'll look very handsome. Liam's wearing a hoodie. You could have a Oilers Nation Internet Company hoodie. You look very handsome. Rick is wearing a hoodie that got us in trouble at one point in time.
It did.
Not for sale anymore.
I'm gonna
That
keep
is
going
not
in
for
I have a large moving box of old Nation gear and a dresser. So I think for the next little while, I'm just gonna start bringing out old hats and old hoodies.
Vintage.
Mr. Remchuk, starting with you for nationgear.ca, your cold performer of the week. Hit me.
Cold performer of the week, Penguins fans booing Connor McDavid. I'm all for booing in sports when it makes sense. And people were saying it's because he dove. They were definitely booing him before they think he dove, which it was absolutely a penalty too, which was dumb. So Penguins fans booing Connor McDavid.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
It would be like Oilers fans booing Connor Bedard. Like what?
I didn't notice it started. I didn't notice at the start, but I did notice it after the Rust play. But I
liked it. Make him angry.
He put his body in the way, leaned his shoulder down, and braced for a hit, and that's interference, man. I don't know what else to say.
Nation Dan, cold performer of the week for nationgear.ca.
My cold performer of the week is the Edmonton Oilers, and specifically Josh Brown for your lack of a response to the Stuart Skinner being run by Nikita Zadorov moment from the game on Tuesday night. Absolutely ridiculous. Don't have to necessarily respond right in that moment, but I know Zadorov's a big guy. He's not that good at fighting, Frank. If you go and watch his clips on hockeyfights.com, he loses more than he wins. And frankly, Josh Brown, what were you doing on the ice other than to tap on the glass and let them know you exist? I don't get it. It was silly. This organization still needs to figure out how to be tough without Evander Kane in the lineup because he's not in the lineup right now. So Josh Brown and the Edmonton Oilers, for your lack of a response against Nikita Zadorov after you ran your goalie, you get my cold performer of the week.
What the hell is going on?
Rick, you're up. Cold performer of the week for nationgear.ca.
I'm at the point now where I think they have had some sort of talk in the room.
I think so.
And have decided not to do that as a team.
Try and punish them on the power play.
And I tweeted score a goal or someone fight them. I don't care having a response. They scored a goal, so I was kind of better with it. But at this point, I do believe I'll do a little bit of research. I think I'll try, and I do believe they have some sort of decision in the room that says, "Hey, we're not doing that. We're good enough. Our power play is ridiculous. Let's just take advantage of them that way." Anyways, we're doing cold performers.
Cold performers.
Dude, it's going to sound stupid. I hate when the weather's like this right now. It's supposed to be cold in January. Just get cold. You're going to make it cold into February into March. Let's make January deep freeze. Let's get over and done with, and let's move on. It starts to thaw in February. By March,
It'd be so icy.
You can see the green coming out. We start golfing around, before between St. Patty's and April Fools. Let's get to the cold. Come on.
Liam, you're up. Cold performer of the week for nationgear.ca.
You guys ever had needling done?
Nope.
I had needling done on my back.
Like acupuncture?
Kinda, I guess.
It's a step down from acupuncture. Not as long of a needle.
Yeah.
So
I had that done yesterday. It was crazy. And so uncomfortable, and you just lay there with needles just poking your spine.
It causes it to release the muscles and
Oh yeah. 3 of the 4 needles bent in my back.
That sounds awful.
It was. That's my cold performer.
Oh, that's cold.
I guess my hot performer is when it was over.
My cold performer of the week is along the lines of Dan's, or I guess Tyler's. Bruins fans for booing Stu as if they think that he's trying to sell something when he got hit by Zadorov. Come on. That guy is 9 feet tall and he hit a goalie that was in a position to try and make a save. Banged into the post. Probably didn't feel great. Get out of here, Bruins fans.
That's a joke. That's an absolute joke is what it is.
All right, let's flip the ledger. Let's finish up the podcast with some break news. Liam, you're up first. You could have 2 if you need.
Last night after the Oilers game, and after I did a post-game show, my friend has an ODR in his backyard. So there was 15 of us went there. I didn't play. I just sat in the hot tub the whole time, and it was awesome.
That is awesome. That's good living.
He's a hot guy.
You were literally a hot guy.
He's a hot guy.
Rick, you're up for nationgear.ca, your hot performer of the week.
I saw a headline. I didn't really read into it because I just prefer to read headlines than the rest of it. But there's a place in Vancouver, so this is the that they're getting it. They do $20, all you can eat hot dogs and tater tots.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I'm going to be eating a lot of hot dogs next week, so I don't know if I want to think about it. Nation Dan, you're up. Hot performer of the week for nationgear.ca.
Well, while Mr. Trump and President Elon muse about annexing our country and stealing our country, my hot performer is going to go out to the Canadian firefighters who are down in Los Angeles right now fighting the massive wildfires that have broken out there. You guys are a message of Canada, and I love it, and I love to see it. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay safe down there, and let's get these fires put out. So Canadian firefighters in LA, you get my hot performer of the week.
Put some respect on my name.
Which is a little ironic, I know, but...
Tyler, hot performer of the week.
Also, shout out to Hart from Puckpedia. Glad to hear he's staying safe down in LA. My hot performer is the NFL weekend, final weekend of the year where we have more than 4 NFL games to watch. And I love wildcard weekend. I think it's a lot of fun. Go Bills.
Go Vikings game got moved to Arizona. I think that favors the Vikings.
It's getting hot here.
I'm going back to the Oilers just because I got to. He had a horrible start to the season. He had 1 goal in his first 19 games, but Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has goals in 4 of his last 5 games and 5 of his last 7. He has put himself back on pace to go over a 20-goal season. That is a nice spot to be in at the midway point, given how slow that start was. So, Nuge, I see you, buddy. I appreciate the way that you've turned it on over the last couple of months.
It's getting hot here.
Feeling hot.
He deserves it. Last thing, finally. Score prediction tomorrow, Chicago, 5:00 start is an early one on a Saturday. So Liam's got plenty of time to get in the tub afterward. What's your score prediction, Liam?
Well, I'm actually going to Korean karaoke tomorrow after the game.
What makes it Korean?
Korean barbecue, and they have a karaoke.
Gotcha.
I was hoping it was to be the songs.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just thinking the songs of South Korea. The Songs of Seoul by Liam Horban.
5-2 Edmonton Oilers.
Rick, score prediction.
Well, hopefully they feel as annoyed about last night as I do. So 6-1.
Dan?
6-2 Edmonton Oilers.
Tyler?
Yeah, Hawks playing second of back-to-backs. I'm going to say 4-1 Oilers.
7-2 Oilers. Big win tomorrow on a Saturday night. Enjoy football all weekend. Go Vikings.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.